This is the story of how one man dropped out of law school, started a band, got kicked out of a band, started a solo career, and then went on to have one of the most famous and highest selling singles of all time. It's the 1920s, the roaring 20s, and America is in a boom. Prior to the Depression, everything was rolling pretty well for everybody.
Great success.
Our main character is from Spokane, Washington, and he decides that he's going to attend Gonzaga University to study a degree in law.
Don't shake your head, I'm not done yet. Wait till you hear the whole thing so you can understand this now.
He soon realized that his hobby of music was becoming a passion that was far more interesting than studying the books for law.
I am running away from my responsibilities. It feels good.
He would go on to play drums and sing in many different bands. However, the Rhythm Boys is the one that stuck. The Rhythm Boys became very popular locally on campus and in town. So much so that a man named Paul Whiteman, who had a jazz orchestra, took notice of them. Paul invited them to join his traveling jazz act, and he thought that their vaudeville style of singing and comedy would fit in well, and it did. America loved the entire show, especially the Rhythm Boys. However, the Rhythm Boys like to get rowdy. The Rhythm Boys were rock stars before rock stars were even conceived, before they were even imagined. They like to lay out late at night. They like to drink. They like to show up late for the rehearsals and the radio shows the next day. And that did not sit well with Mr. Whiteman.
I've had enough! Enough!
See, Paul was a stickler for standards and for discipline. And that was the exact opposite of what our, at the time, rock stars were showing.
You can punch through this wall, you really are Flash Gordon.
You gonna do it?
I'm gonna punch through it.
Come on, Sam, do it! Do it! Come on! Oh my God! Oh my God! Yes! He did it!
What the hell your problem? You breaking my wall! I'm breaking your wall!
It wouldn't take long for Whiteman to develop a hatred of them. Maybe not a hatred, kind of. Anyway, he kicked him out of the act altogether.
That's it, pal. You are out of here!
They were so rowdy and so disdainful for his standards that he had no use for him anymore. But that didn't stop our main character. Our main character would go on recording and doing other work in music and becoming slightly successful. There was one factor, though, around the 1930s that really started to separate things for him and wound up being a key contributor to his success.
What are y'all doing in here?
We're smoking reefer, and you don't want no part of this shit.
Around 1930, the invention of the condenser microphone came to be. Before the condenser microphone, actors and singers had to be very loud and very dramatic when speaking into a microphone.
I don't know what we're yelling about!
It would pick up more high-range pitches than it would low. So if you had a smooth baritone voice, it would be hard to pick up on the mics before the condensing mic.
Baby, I'm gonna butter your bread.
However, our main character was a crooner. He had a low, soft baritone voice, and the American people fell in love with it instantly.
Shut up and take my money!
By 1932, he had mastered this new technology, and it put him on the charts. It wasn't long at all before he became a big movie star, singing and acting in several different movies. In the 1930s, the radio airwaves didn't really give you much of an idea of what a person looked like. So a lot of the films were around the fact that the other actors would stumble upon him singing and suddenly discover who he was. This only made America fall more in love with him. By the mid-1930s, he had his own syndicated radio show where every week Kraft Foods would sponsor him. They would advertise their products and he would sing to the American people. It was so popular that over 50 million people tuned in to listen to him every week. As our star's power grew, another growing problem was starting to hit the world. World War II was on the horizon, and it sent hundreds of thousands of young men overseas, many of which had never been off the family farm or across to the next town. And so it was in 1940 that a man named Irving Berlin would start writing the script for a movie called Holiday Inn. He had chosen no other than our main character for his actor and singer in this movie. The movie was released in 1942, and as the movie found its way overseas to our soldiers fighting in the Great War, one particular song in this movie really struck home with them, literally.
Stop saying literally!
The song was soft. It was warm. It made the soldiers feel like they were getting messages from home and getting a warm hug from their mother. This particular song would become synonymous with Christmas time. If you haven't guessed by now, the name of that song was White Christmas, and the singer was Bing Crosby.
Wow. I didn't know that. You're telling me now for the first time.
Bing would go on to visit the troops overseas with Bob Hope on USO tours, and they all became very popular of his music, his singing, and his contributions to making them feel more comfortable in war. The song was so popular, in fact, that even after the war, around 1947, the master recording had been damaged from being re-recorded so many times.
I'm giving her all she's got, Captain. If I push it any harder, the whole thing will blow.
Bing returned to the studio with the same singers and the same accompaniment to re-record the song in a new master. That song is what you all hear today. Bing's success only climbed from there. He became one of America's largest stars of all times. His fame would even follow him into the new technology of the television. Bing would continue to act and sing well into his 70s. In fact, in 1977, he was recording a special in London with Bob Hope. While on a day of R&R in Madrid, Spain, he was playing 18 holes of golf with some friends of his. As Bing finished up the 18th hole, the group began to walk back to the clubhouse when Bing announced, "Hey, that was a great game today, fellas." Shortly after that, Bing collapsed on the ground and died from a massive heart attack.
This is a bummer, man. That's a bummer.
America would go on to mourn the loss of their beloved Bing Crosby. However, Bing's singing, his acting, and White Christmas would go on to become Bing's legacy. White Christmas holds a Guinness Book of World Records for being one of the most purchased singles of all time pre-modern streaming services. In fact, to this day, in December, like it is right now, you can't leave the house and turn on your radio or go into a store without hearing the iconic song. And I hope that when you guys listen to that song, it reminds you of home and it feels like you're getting a warm hug. That, my friends, is the story of how one man dropped out of law school, started a band, got kicked out of another band, became a rowdy rock and roller before that was ever imagined, and would go on to create the most iconic Christmas song of all time. Hey, if you guys like this video, I hope that you would subscribe to the channel and like it below. If you would, leave a comment below of what type of content you'd like to see me make next, and I'll see you next time.